and answers. So I get to introduce our two speakers today. Diahanna is the financial program manager, and she specializes in financial help for multiple myeloma and acute myeloid leukemia patients. As a professional financial advisor and former caregiver of her husband, who's diagnosed with multiple myeloma, she perfectly understands the issues that are facing cancer patients. We're also joined here by Patrick Kelley. He is from Tennessee, and he lives with his wife, Christine, and they have two sons and a dog and a grand dog. Pat was diagnosed with myeloma at the age of 45, and he continues to live his life wholly and looks for ways to help others do the same. His skills are financial resources, health insurance issues, mental and emotional health, HealthTree resources, short, long-term disability, stem cell transplant, and becoming your best advocate. And he's going to be sharing some personal experiences today of accessing these resources for himself and how it enlightened his life. So with that being said, I'll turn the time over to Diahanna and Patrick. Diahanna, if you'll just start with the latest financial updates. Thanks for being here.
Great. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We tried to make something really fun. So let's start with something that's not so fun, and that's some of the latest financial updates. You may have heard that there was a case that's been in court since 2021. It's involving a company called Braidwood Management. It's out in Texas. Yesterday, a federal judge ruled that under the ACA Act, preventative care is unconstitutional, and this is going to go across the country. A lot of people are not aware that if you get involved with ACA, the exchange, it does not mean that you can't afford medical care. It's just that it may be less expensive than your employer care. It could cover some of the same things. So this is going to be really big that's going on. Preventative care includes screening for cancers, maternity care, that you have your yearly maternity care, regular screenings, anything preventative that's usually paid for by insurance. They're trying to say it's now unconstitutional. That's going across the country. So be aware what's going on with that, because that means there'll be more out of pocket you'll have to take care of. So be aware of that. When I find out more about it, when we know what's going to go on, I'm sure there's going to be some appeals on this. I will let you know. All right, let's get started. Free or discounted resources for disabled and cancer patients, as well as their children and for their caregivers. There's a lot of opportunities out there that we aren't aware of. We're always worried about taking care of our medical care, such as prescriptions and co-pays, deductibles. Well, we're gonna leave all that behind for a day. Hopefully you can find that this is going to be a type of medicine that everybody can swallow, that you can take advantage of some of these opportunities and run with them. And I asked Patrick to do this because he is really on the forefront of this. He's done some great things, and it's so exciting. I would never have thought these things were available until Patrick started talking about some of the things he's doing. And so since then, I've been researching and talking to other people who've taken advantage of some of these opportunities. Next slide. Patrick?
What we'll cover, free or reduced tickets to music venues, sporting events, camps, national parks, books, travel assistance, technology, and more. And we'll talk about what proof you need, how to approach, and also some unlisted opportunities. And we're highlighting the most popular opportunities. This list is not all inclusive. You might want to spend a little time Googling other discount programs for cancer patients or disabled people. Be sure to look at local resources as well. It doesn't hurt to ask any venue specifically if they have opportunities such as freebies or discounts for disabled or cancer patients. This would include restaurants, car rentals, service providers, such as photographers, gyms, electricians, plumbers, etc. Just ask. Look for gender or cancer type opportunities. This is one of my favorite, free or reduced tickets to concerts and theaters. There's this group called Do It for Love. It's an organization that provides cancer patients with a free pair of concert tickets in a location near you. You just need to apply for the grant. This application is short and requires proof of diagnosis from your provider. In 2017, I applied, got tickets for the Peter Frampton, Stevie Miller concert at Opryland in Nashville. Great concert. And then as far as theater goes, it's one of my favorite too. I got tickets for Hamilton on Broadway at the George Rogers Theater in New York City. Simply not Ticketmaster, but call the box office directly at the theater and ask for tickets for the permanently medically disabled. I got two tickets for $232 for a disability ticket, which was normally going for $1,000. I got it on 1 week's notice when it normally was months' notice. So just ask, and you'd be surprised what's out there. And then for cancer patients, survivors, and caregivers and advocates, a fresh chapter. This organization provides people with cancer survivors, caregivers, and patient advocates with online and in-person opportunities, adventures where they can gain new perspectives through life-changing personal growth, leadership, and volunteer experiences. And there's the link.
Okay, so Deliver the Dream. Was this one I was doing, Patrick? I'll
Yes.
go over this one. Deliver the Dream. So this is with dealing with people with advanced illnesses. So it provides families living with advanced illnesses such as myeloma or some of the other illness, other cancer, blood cancers, whether the illness involves a child or a parent, the chance to enjoy a 3-day retreat. Now, when I talk about these 3-day retreats, generally the cost of travel is going to be your responsibility. However, they may have grants available to help you reduce the cost of that travel. When you go and call and talk to them, which I suggest you do, ask them where they can get you, or you can get help with travel costs, whether that's plane, bus, however you do that. So this Cancer Family Retreat is for families who have a child or a parent diagnosed with cancer. All activities are centered on fun and are inclusive of the entire family unit. So they'll have age-specific grant opportunities or activities that you can participate in. 100% of the lodging, activities, and group meal expenses are covered for the entire trip. Again, travel costs to and from the event are the responsibility of family, but call them and see if they have access to help you reduce those travel costs. There's a Camp Wiser Family Getaway. It's a 3-day retreat for family of adult cancer patients. So you can find these links for Deliver the Dream, as well as the Wiser Family Getaway is through onefoundation.org. In addition to those, I was really shocked. There's other things like we did Deliver the Dream. There's a Camp Wiser Foundation. There is another one called Live by Living Retreat. And it is a retreat for adult cancer survivors and their caregivers anywhere in the United States. Their nature-centric respites includes activities like hikes, snowshoeing, nature walks, and more. They're customized to your particular physical activity or abilities. So it provides you an opportunity to connect with people who understand what you're going through. There's another one called Harmony Heal Retreat. And it also is a 3-day cancer retreat for men and women with any type of cancer, no cost to participants or their companions, which is that's really cool. So these retreats are designed to foster peace and well-being through group sharing sessions and other activities such as gentle yoga, meditation, poetry, and art. So this is one of those gentle types of things. If you have problems with the hiking, or you have problems with some of these things, may have real fishing or some of the other things that are too physical, this might be a really great opportunity to go outside, to be outside in the open air, but also to do things that's not going to be as physically taxing. There's a Face of Courage retreat program. Now, this is for children and young adults, men and women in the United States with any type of cancer. So there's a lot of opportunities out there, and I'm going to put these as well as a few others on another slide so that when you get these slides, you'll have all those available to you. Well, I know we're going into the summer months. Right now is a great time to start planning for these. And when the one said snow, look forward to doing some things in the winter as well, so you won't feel like you're cooped up all the time. It's a great deal to get out now that we're post-COVID. Next slide. National state parks. Patrick, would you like to go with this one?
Yes, adults with disabilities can receive free passes to the U.S. national parks, discounted passes to state parks. Many places such as movie theaters, sporting events, theme parks, museums, zoos, and aquariums offer discounted tickets to people with disabilities or special needs as well. Remember, it never hurts to ask. And I got my free or $10 for a lifetime pass for the national parks. Believe me, it's worth it.
They also have early access to some of those parks as well, and specific access to some of those places where you can get like cars or access to some of the places for handicap if you plan ahead of time as well.
Yeah, and they give you discounts on camping and all the services within the parks too.
Mhm.
So this next one, outdoor fun, the Epic Experience offers free week-long outdoor experiences to people 18 years or older who have been diagnosed with cancer. Experiences are based on outdoor adventures activities such as whitewater kayaking, snowshoeing, and cross-country skiing. Connections with other individuals who share a similar story create a community that lasts long after the Epic experience has ended. It's at www.epicexperience.org.
I suspect there's going to be a lot more of those whitewater rafting, those water opportunities now that we've gotten a lot of these lakes and reservoirs and everything has filled up this past winter. So look for those things even through the fall, not just for the summer months. So outdoor fun for cancer patients and caregivers. Remember, caregivers involved as well. So first descents, this is for spouses, a friend, or a loved one who is a caregiver for cancer patients who are between the ages of 18 and 45. These could include destination-based or adventures closer to home. Programs are offered free of cost. So that would include food and any of the activities, the cost would be free. This is a great opportunity for people to get away, for those caregivers to just breathe. I mean, it's as a caregiver, I was a caregiver to my husband for 12, 13 years. And sometimes you just need this time to yourself so you can to reload and clear your mind so that you can be the best caregiver you can be to your loved one. Next slide. So this one is for women. I was surprised when I found this one. You don't hear about very many women. My grandmother was one of those outdoor women who used to go deep sea fishing and all those things. But this is the first one I heard with fly fishing for women. Fly fishing is just a beautiful sport. If anybody saw a river runs through it, I was just absolutely fascinated how beautiful fly fishing is. So this is for women 18 years old or older who have been diagnosed with cancer. It offers fly fishing wellness retreats for women with cancer. This organization helps renew participant spirits and hopes through fly fishing, nature, peer coaching, and peer bonding. I cannot imagine, other than a dude ranch, what I would like to do, I can't imagine anything more relaxing on the outdoors. Bonding with women, because women have the desire to bond. Women in nature, fly fishing. I imagine this like the river runs through it, and to me, it's just fascinating. I think that would be a great opportunity for those people who would just like to get out and enjoy the outside. Next slide.
And then this is the men's version, Men's Fly Fishing Retreat, Real Recovery. This is a national nonprofit organization that conducts free fly fishing retreats for men living with all forms of cancer. Real Recovery covers all expenses except the cost for travel. There are destinations all over the country. And in 2018, I attended Traverse City, Michigan, my hometown in Michigan. And what an experience. It was bonfires, sitting around with other men. Two guys with multiple myeloma were there. One guy from Wisconsin, one guy from Indiana. And we keep in touch till this day. And learning how to make fly fishes, to doing it, to the years afterwards, you can go back and be a coach. So an outstanding experience. And then outdoor adventures for veterans. United Special Sportsman Alliance through USSA provides veterans who are disabled an outdoor adventure of their dreams. Trips include hunting, fishing, water sports, and other activities. It's at childwish.org.
So wish upon a wedding. This is something, and don't think of this as your first wedding. This, you could be renewing your vows. Is something that I regret. My husband and I wanted to do this and we never got around to doing it. It seems like something always got in the way. And to this day, he passed in 2013. I still wish we had renewed our vows. This is an organization comprised of wedding and event professionals who volunteer their time, energy, and love granting wedding ceremonies and vow renewal ceremonies to couples facing serious illness or life-altering health conditions, so they may celebrate their love with their closest family and friends. And they will have photographers, there will be food, there will be your cake, there will be everything. So it's an opportunity. If you wanted to plan a wedding, you couldn't afford a wedding, you have these other things that are sucking your money, like your health care, this is a great organization to call. I can't imagine anything more bonding than having family and friends taking some time out of the daily doctor's appointments and renew your love and have your family and friends there. I think that's just great. Take advantage of this. Call them. It doesn't hurt to ask to see what it's all about. Next slide. Oh, Patrick. This one's dear to Patrick's heart.
This is my all-time favorite. Free or reduced tickets to sporting events. Possible Super Bowl tickets, anyone, other major or minor league sporting events. Contact the NFL, NHL, NBL directly. So back in 2018, I wrote a letter to the NFL, not just to the line level person, but to the commissioner of the NFL. And I explained that I had multiple myeloma, a rare, incurable, often deadly cancer of the plasma cells of the bone marrow that destroys bones and kidneys. I made it sound really bad. And then I was looking for tickets for me and my family to go. Well, 2 days before the Super Bowl, I got a call as I was pulling into work. This guy says, "This is Sean O'Connor from the NFL. And I don't have tickets for your family, but I have one ticket for you. It's in the disability section. It's a $600 ticket. The market price for tickets was $6,000. I said, I'll take the ticket immediately. I was in the club level at the 50-yard line and saw the Super Bowl. It was like a lifetime of my dreams. And anyways, I guess the punchline is you're not just going to go to Ticketmaster and get tickets like this. It's a special, unique process. Try to contact them directly. I heard at one point the NFL had a process every year where you had to go through like a lottery for like a Make-A-Wish thing. But that was my experience. Give it a try and you'll be surprised what you might be able to get.
I gotta add this. Patrick is an attorney and he has a great way of wording things, whether it's finding these freebies or discount things to unimaginable great. Everybody wants tickets to the Super Bowl, or if it's helping find ways to word things for Social Security disability applications. I mean, he is a great resource. So please take advantage of these things and go to the source. Don't go through these, like you said, don't go to Ticketmaster. They're like a third party. Go directly to the source. We know that the Super Bowl, a lot of those national football players, they're really big into giving back to the communities, to cancer patients, especially to children. You hear about these. And so take advantage of those opportunities. They're once in a lifetime opportunities.
Yeah.
So do you want to do this one, Patrick? Do you want me to go on for this one?
You go ahead.
Okay, so free or reduced access to travel. So Amtrak, it offered 10% on the rail fare discount to adult passengers with disabilities and for one traveling companion age 18 or older. And that includes traveling between Boston, Massachusetts to Portland, Maine, and are eligible for 50% discount. Child passengers with a disability are eligible for everyday 50% child discount plus the additional 10% off the discounted child rail, I have a hard time with that word, rail fare, regardless of the service of which they travel. Additional discount is offered of 10% for persons traveling with a passenger with a disability as a companion. Refer to local discounts for other transportation opportunities. So a lot of those big cities that you'd have, like the subway, the rail in San Francisco, all those places offer discounts for passengers. call and ask. Amtrak, you can go from shore to shore on Amtrak. Take advantage of those. Do a short trip, and not just in our country. You might want to look in Canada as well. Canada has great rail systems. You might want to ask, go if you want to go to Canada, right across the border. See if you can get discounts with them as well. I don't want to just limit it to United States. Other countries will honor a lot of these things as well. Ask them. Next slide. So free
Free,
vehicles,
go ahead.
Patrick, please take it. This is one I was surprised about, getting free vehicles.
Yeah, free vehicles, charity cars provides free vehicles to people in need and medically needy. 800charitycars.org.
And that means a free car. There are a lot of people who donate cars. You talk about donate cars to Volunteers of America or all these other organizations. And sometimes they donate cars that are mechanically sound to people who need a car. I don't know the tax ramifications of this, but it doesn't hurt to reach out and find out what may be available. In particular, for those people who are in areas where they don't have transportation, they may be very rural. This may be something you can take advantage of. Next slide. So hotel accommodations. Club Go has a platform for individuals with disabilities. Members can save up to 60% on certain hotels, resorts, and motels. So just like AARP has discounts, Club Go also has discounts. I don't know what the cost of those memberships are. I would think it's very minimal, very much like AARP. It doesn't hurt if you saving 60% on certain hotels. That could be a significant amount of money for a trip. There's a link as well. Next slide. Patrick?
Yeah, handicap parking placards. These placards will allow you to park in preferred parking spaces closer to an entry. The cost is minimal and requires a medical doctor to sign a form. It's so easy and such a convenience. And then medical pre-boarding for flights and access assistance. This allows you to board as one of the first passengers on the plane, allowing you to get front row or closer seats, storage, time, and assistance. Some of this assistance includes assistance to your boarding gate and luggage to pick up. This is usually provided free and typically does not require proof. Call ahead and ask your airline or gate representative. Some airlines don't have seat assignments, so they may try to move your seat assignment closer to the front.
Okay, assistance with pets or service animals. And when I say service animals, I'm going to assume in my head dog, but we know the last couple of years there's been all kinds of animals people are considering service animals to get on planes. And look at that, because they're beginning to pull back on some of those animals that people have been considering their service animals. So this is a health and human welfare organization which provides financial assistance to persons with disabilities who are unable to afford a service animal. So if you have problems like with neuropathy or with your sight or all these other things, assistance, dog assistance, dogs can come into play and help with your everyday needs for going out, walking, or even for protection at home. So Best Friends is an organization, a nationwide organization that offers financial pet assistance and resources and guides to people with disabilities. Some of these organizations will also help you provide with food that you may need for your animals. They may also help provide with medical care for your animals as well. So I would really encourage you to take advantage of that. We know pets help reduce stress. So especially when you're in a situation with some of these cancers and diseases, I would suggest, if you can afford a pet or would like to have a pet, looking to see what kind of organizations have those pets available and what kind of assistance they can provide for you and your pet. Next slide. So there's free physical training for cancer patients. Live Strong, and you've heard of Live Strong, that is with, what's its name? The bike rider who won all of the Tour de France's, but they were taken back, Lance Armstrong. They have a program, the YMCA's across the country. It's a program that strives to address rebuilding strength after treatment to assist patients with returning to physical activity. Live Strong YMCA connects cancer survivors to personal trainers who then develop exercise programs designed for the specific needs of a given survivor. And I've reached out and found out that may include aqua exercises, where you may have problems with neuropathy or joints. Some of those exercises may also include some of their programs as well in the water or in a pool. Cancer survivors can work with their trainers for 12 weeks. That's 275 to 90-minute sessions for either no cost or a discounted rate. And that may vary depending on what YMCA you go to. Sometimes if you go to some of the smaller YMCAs, you know, they're a lot more accommodating, but reach out. It doesn't hurt to ask. In addition to that, if you have problems traveling, this is one that's not on here. Your local here in Louisville, we have TARC, and that is your local bus service, They have smaller buses or other buses for people who need to go back and forth to their hospital, to the doctor, or to other organizations like YMCA. Touch base with them to see if you can coordinate going to the YMCA or coordinate going to your doctor for a discounted rate for that travel. Next slide. So this is not time away. It's not a camp, but I'm telling you, when somebody comes in and cleans up your house, you feel like you're on vacation. So this is an organization called Cleaning for a Reason. And this is throughout the United States and Canada. And what this organization does is it finds these cleaning groups or cleaning businesses that donate their time and effort to go in and clean houses for people with cancer. And if the entire service is free, they will do up to 2 cleanings for you in a year. So I'm telling you, I wish somebody could come and clean my house. I'm OCD, and it would be nice to have a day off. So I would suggest men, women, call them. It's really worth the time to get things organized, especially now spring cleaning is coming around. This is a great time to call them up and get on their schedule because they can get busy throughout the year. So go to cleaningforareason.org and make it an at-home vacation with a clean house. Next slide. So Patrick's going to tell us where to find some of these discounts and the best ways to do them.
One of the best ways to learn about how you can get freebies and discounts is by checking the websites of the country's various federal departments. Others ways to find discounts for people with disabilities include: 1, connecting with communities in your area that assist people with disabilities. 2, conduct a local search for organizations in your area that assist people with disabilities. 3, signing up for newsletters or websites that specialize in helping people with special needs or disabilities. 4, using specialty websites or search engines that cater specifically to needs of people with disabilities, such as benefitscheckup.org. Or 5, staying up to date with the latest news through websites like the Disabled World.
Now, the Disabled World has tens of 20, 30, 40, 50 different organizations that you can access, and it will include access to technology. If you need, they'll tell you where you can get free telephones or cell phones or free computers or free education, how to use computers. There's a lot of opportunities out there for people who are disabled or for cancer patients. Next slide. So I use disability throughout this thing. I know a lot of people who have myeloma or some of these other cancers are not necessarily disabled. They're still working, they're still fine. But I want you to understand that how we feel about ourselves may not be how the world will view some opportunities that are available to you. I would say take advantage of opportunities that are out there at discounted or totally free. I don't know the specifics of every single one of these opportunities, what they're going to require in order for you to take advantage of them. Patrick may know that you have to give a letter from the doctor. I'm not sure. I would assume they, they want to be aware that they're covering themselves as well. So even some letter from a doctor, or you do the letter and have the doctor sign it. Some kind of verification that you are considered disabled, or you may have a cancer or whatever. That's because they want to know that you either had cancer or in treatment. So please take advantage of these things. There are many free and discounted opportunities for goods and services in your local community, as well as across the country and in Canada. Again, it doesn't hurt to ask. If you are traveling abroad, ask them as well. You might want to go to even a local cancer center, and they may have social workers, however they call them, social workers, may have access to resources that may be in that particular area. I'm going to be traveling to Europe for 3 to 4 weeks next month. I'm going to be going through Paris, through France and Spain and Norway and some of these other places. And I'm going to go out of my way to try to find some opportunities that I can share with people who love to travel. And another thing we didn't mention was cruises. There is a cruise line that offers discounts to people who are disabled or cancer patients. And I will put that in the list that's going to be sent out to you as well. When you get these slides, we'll have that information for you as well. So take advantage of these opportunities. I mean, where else you're going to get to do some great things, meet some people who understand what you're going through, meet friends for life. Take advantage of it.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much. I definitely learned a lot when I was going through these slides, and just so exciting that people are out there wanting to provide these types of resources to people who are going through the hardest time of their life. So I appreciate you both investigating into these and then sharing them. There's a couple questions. If you do have a question, feel free to enter it into the Q&A that you see near the bottom of your screen, and we'll be happy to answer. The biggest question you addressed right at the very end, Diahanna, but let's go over it one more time. So, is multiple myeloma legally considered a disability?
Multiple myeloma is considered, and I want to have Patrick, because he knows how to word this when he's doing his Social Security disability. Multiple myeloma is considered a non-curable illness. A lot of the symptoms like neuropathy, brain fog, a lot of those things are disabling. So it depends on how your doctor words the letter, how the relationship you have with your doctor is going to carry you with a lot of things. Multiple myeloma is, my husband got disability really quickly because he had multiple myeloma. And he was still able to go to work, or he was still able to have his own business, but he was still considered disabled because he had disabling physical problems.
Yeah.
Patrick, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, as simple as your medical doctor, he puts right in my medical notes, of note, Patrick, it explains that I have multiple myeloma. And then he goes on to say that I'm permanently medically disabled. And anywhere from getting that handicap placard, simple form signed by the MD, I hang that placard in the front of my car. It says I'm permanently medically disabled. And then as far as whether myeloma is a disability, for Social Security disability income, they've got a rule book. And under multiple myeloma, if you've had one stem cell transplant, you're automatically approved. Within like 6 weeks, you're automatically approved for disability. So I would tend to indicate that the answer is yes to that question. And then you could definitely bolster it by what you say and what your doctor says.
And to be clear, you don't have to be on Social Security disability to take advantage of a lot of these options. So you could have multiple myeloma, you could still be employed and take advantage of these options because you do have multiple myeloma. So as you guys mentioned, wording is so important, and it never hurts to ask. So taking advantage, calling up, explaining the disease, trying to advocate for yourself in this other new, probably more exciting way is something to consider.
In addition to that, and some of these doesn't mean you have to be in treatment for some of these diseases or cancers. Some of
Mhm.
these, if you had ever been diagnosed or treated for cancer, you're still eligible to participate in some of these opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. There's somebody that asked, they joined late, but they were concerned that they would need a disability card or a certificate or some kind of code to be able to access these resources. And there's something I think that we need to consider. It's like these people are literally creating organizations to help you. So it's not like the pharma companies that are like, sorry, you made $1 more than our allowance. We're not going to be able to help you. These people are wanting to help you. They've made it their life mission. So even if you don't maybe, or you're worried that you might not qualify, give them a call, look at their website, send them an email, right? Any more thoughts on that, you two?
Right. They're not going to ask for your income, what kind of income you made
Mhm.
they're not. So this is one area you can say, oh, I'm going to be able to do something, have fun with my family, or you can send your kids off to some of these programs who've been around all of this and they need a break, or your caregiver. Yeah, and they're not going to ask you how much you made last year. You know, why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. Yeah. Along those same lines, somebody's wondering if there's a common ID that is acceptable to these organizations that identify an individual as a cancer patient. We mentioned earlier, there are some that will request proof of your disease diagnosis, right, Patrick? But that's pretty relatively easy to get. Is that true?
Yeah, it's relatively easy. Yeah, it all it requires is your doctor signing a note or a form. Simple MD, that's it.
So if you plan on doing a couple of these, depending what it is, just get one or two of them. Yeah, and verify that your caregiver as well, because there's discounts or freebies for your caregiver as well. So
Yeah, exactly.
why
Yeah.
not?
Okay, so Quinben's wondering if there's any help for like yard work or small repairs around the house.
There are, as a matter of fact, one of the federal programs also has, it's for people who have FMA, what are those? FHA loans. Sorry, there's all those things. FHA loans have discounts or opportunities for people to get, or there's handyman services that will come in and do simple repairs around the house. They may do modifications to your home. If you have an FHA loan, contact them. HUD, they have opportunities where they can come in and give you discounts or lower interest rates to have work done on your home as well for modifications.
Yeah, and this is a great example of why connecting with a financial coach through our free coaching program can help. If you find one of these coaches who've listed, financial as their expertise, you can connect with one of them and they can help link you to specific resources. So if you're saying, I really need some help around my yard, I can't bend down like I used to, my wife's, taking care of me, so that can't get done. They're willing to help you. They're willing to seek out in your local area, in your national area. They're going to help you find these kind of resources. That's what they're volunteering to do.
With some of these opportunities we presented today, I want to make sure everybody, depending on how your state is, you have your real ID. If you plan to get on a plane, make sure you have the real ID versus your old license, because a lot of those things are going to be required for you to get on the plane anymore.
The real ID is the one with the star, in case anybody's wondering.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, so for those of you wondering how to connect with a coach, you can just go to www.healthtree.org/myeloma/coach. And I can put that in the chat as well to everyone. So it's www.healthtree.org/myeloma/coach. And it's a free program that if you're not already registered for, you can sign up for. If you already have a coach for a different issue, you can sign up for another coach. There's not a limit of coaches. And you can connect with a financial coach that can help you find resources like yard work in your area and things like that. So Karen's wondering, can you collect this is a United States-based question, but can you collect Social Security disability and still work at the same time?
Yes, you can. And because they have where you can go trial to see if you can go back to work, you can work. There's a minimum amount of a maximum amount of money you can earn,
Yeah.
but you can work and have Social Security disability at the same time. Call the Social Security Social Security office, and they'll tell you what those guidelines are, criteria is.
Yeah, I know quite a few patients who work, it's pretty much part-time, somewhere in between that part and full-time, right? Because there is a certain amount that you can earn. So it gives you the sense of purpose and still being employed while still not overworking yourself and burning yourself out. Patrick, any more thoughts on that?
No, just what you said. I guess the one caveat to be careful with, I'm on Social Security disability income, and they check me every 3 years.
Mm.
They say, are you just still disabled? They ask you questions like, can you count change? What do you get up from when you get up in the morning to what do you do at night? Can you make yourself a meal? And just to keep things in context, so if you start working, it's going to start looking like you're not so disabled. So there's benefits of working. You can earn up to a certain dollar amount. And like Audrey said, it might help you with your feeling productive. But at the same time, be careful, because the more that you look like you can work, the less you look like you're disabled.
And some people might want that. I mean, some people might want to get back to work, get back to normal life, and so it's up to you, and you really have to know your body. Those with significant bone lesions, like what Patrick went through. I mean, if you don't mind me sharing, Patrick, just your back surgery and everything, like you've been through the ringer, right? Whereas somebody who maybe didn't have as much bone involvement or was relatively healthy is feeling like, not so substantially affected, I guess I would say. I would say they're going to have a harder time getting on Social Security disability if you're not able to show. Is that true? Because I know I've talked to a couple people where, like, if they don't have a lot of bone involvement or they don't have significant anemia.
Well, for the biggest thing in the rules is if you had a stem cell transplant,
Oh, okay.
then you can get approval. I've had several patients that I coach who have not had a stem cell transplant, and they've been denied.
Mm.
Some of them are in appeals. It's much harder for them to get the disability. But
That's interesting because
the
of
kick,
where the myeloma field is going. I just wonder if we'll see that change.
yeah, maybe that'll change as time evolves, as there's new medications and there's new treatments and stuff.
And I want to make people aware of the Social Security disability. It used to be about average 5 months in order, if your application is complete, everything's done correctly, about 5 months to be approved or before you start getting your first check. Because of everything that happened with COVID and the applications they have, it's in some cases it's taken up to a year to be approved. So I know that can be very devastating on the household finances. So be aware of that when you call, and make sure your paperwork is good. All your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed when you submit that paperwork. I think we have on our schedule to do a Social Security disability webinar. And I think it's going to be an extensive one because there's more and more people asking about Social Security disability. At least that's a lot of questions I'm getting from patients. And so I think it's going to be a really good, and Patrick, I would like for you to join us on that one, because from a legal mindset that you have, as well as doing that we can answer some of these questions that we're having with people. It's going to be very important.
Yeah, sure.
Couple of questions here. Cindy's curious, Patrick, if being MRD negative after stem cell transplants affects being approved. Are you aware of like outcomes versus after stem cell transplant, if that affects the condition of approval?
No, I'm not. It scares the hell out of me because I'm MRD negative now, and so I think every now and then I think, well, I'm going to wake up one day and the Social Security or the private long-term disability insurance company are going to say you're no longer disabled. But it's, yeah, no, I mean, I haven't heard that that disqualifies you by being MRD negative. I think one thing that that I try to drive home with the people I coach is um, what you say in your doctor's notes really matters.
Mhm.
And you'd be surprised what you can get. I wrote down on one piece of paper that I'm permanently medically disabled, that multiple myeloma is a rare, incurable, often deadly cancer of the plasma cells, bone marrow, destroys bones, kidneys. My doctor, word for word, put it in the MD notes. Those are the same MD notes that he replicates every 30 days. So insurance company, Social Security is seeing that stuff. How are they to argue against that thing? The other thing is always put in like 4 or 5 symptoms. Like hallmark symptoms are extreme fatigue, immunosuppression, weakness, cognitive impairment, pain. Put those in every opportunity of the way, every survey you fill out, every nurse question, every doctor's note. And then once they see all those things, it's hard for them to argue. But you're right. If they just see 0 lab results, MRD negative, and they don't see any of this extra stuff, then they might question your disability.
Yeah, brings up 2 points. One is it's so important to have a trusting, good relationship with your doctor, because they need to be your advocate in this complicated, can I say, awful insurance world. That, like hearing you say those things, Diahanna, I hope it doesn't come to pass that preventative care is not covered, because that's absolutely ridiculous. But it's a money world out there, And so having somebody on your team that can help advocate for you, especially as a doctor who's going to be contacting insurance on your behalf, who's going to be your, kind of liaison when it comes to that, is so important. And then the other part that I was going to express is I have a lot of patients that are, how do I say, it's very accepting of their side effects. They think, oh, I was diagnosed with myeloma, so I just have to, it's normal that I have chemo brain. It's normal that I have extreme fatigue. And so they often forget to include those on the sheet, or they're embarrassed to announce to their doctor that, hey, I've had chronic diarrhea for about 2 months now that's not going away. That affects your ability to work. That affects your quality of life. Those kind of things need to be reported, because it's your honest, like it's just what your life is. And trying to Pollyanna or look at the good of your life is so you definitely do need to look for the good, but I don't think you need to like wipe away all the things that are actually happening to you. I don't know if I'm communicating well, but
Oh yeah, definitely. So it's a human nature. You go in and you see your doctor that you know well. How are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. No, you don't want to be saying you're fine. The canned response that I use is, well, I'm doing as well as can be expected. And then I launch into my laundry list, like Audrey was saying, my diarrhea, my cognitive impairment, my 5 things every time. So no, you're not just doing fine. You're doing as well as can be expected. And here are 5 things.
Yeah. Okay, great questions coming up here. So Quinben was wondering, one question on Social Security disability: does compassion condition speed up the approval process? I'm not sure what that is, but maybe
I don't either.
Okay, Quinben, if you can clarify what compassion condition is, because we're unfamiliar with that. And then Karen asked, what is MRD? Minimal residual disease is what it stands for. And in very short terms, we do have a whole nother minimal residual disease chapter to educate patients and caregivers on this, because it is kind of rather complicated. But in really simple terms, MRD If you test MRD negative, it's the current deepest response that you can have against myeloma. So in 1 in a million cells, they were not able to detect a single myeloma cell. So those kind of testings, not all myeloma specialists do it. So that's why it gets complicated. There's not really a lot of knowledge about where to go with the MRD negative results, which makes it a little bit more complicated. So just keep that in mind. If you're not knowing what that is, it's not the end of the world. Basically, the question was, if you have a great response to your stem cell transplant and there's no more evidence of myeloma, even though it might exist in your body, they're not detecting it, is that going to affect your approval of Social Security disability? And our answer is, up until now, no. Okay. Yeah, Cindy's saying MRD negativity doesn't mean that my bones don't hurt every single day and that I have energy most other people my age have, or that I heal normally from simple wounds. It's still existing in your body. It's still affecting you. A myeloma diagnosis really doesn't ever go away, unfortunately. Although we do encourage you to live your life as fun and as normal as possible, which is why we're encouraging you to take advantage of these responsibilities. Michael asked a good question here. Do the organizations that you guys mentioned today run out of funds, like open and close, kind of like LLS grants do, or are they continually available throughout the year?
It depends. They don't do it just one time. They may have camps throughout the summer, throughout the fall. And some of those camps may fill up. You might have to find a different date. And it's specific to them. There are some of the camps that they may only offer as a first come first served basis in their state or 4 or 5 surrounding states. And if they're not full, they will take people from other states as well. It depends. That's part of when you get online application or go to those websites, they'll give you more information about those particular camps.
Awesome, thank you. So Quinben was able to clarify its compassionate allowances. So they're quick ways to identify diseases and other medical conditions that by definition meet Social Security standards for disability benefits. So these are like certain cancers, adult brain disorders, and a number of rare diseases. So is myeloma listed as one? I would think so if they have it on the list, right?
Yeah, I would think it is. I know it's part of
think it is,
NORD
yeah.
for rare diseases. So it should
sure.
be, yes.
The answer would be yes, they do. Having a diagnosis would speed up the process, diagnosis such as that.
Yes.
Awesome. And Debbie's saying stage 3 and 4 ovarian cancer is one of those compassionate allowances. So that's something that we can investigate into. And again, speaking with a financial coach might be able to help you. So great question there. And
Yeah, and
thank you.
I can't emphasize getting a Social Security disability lawyer, and they're experts. They know exactly what to do, and they don't charge you a dime. The way they get paid is if you apply and then you get approved a year later, they go back that 1 year and they get I don't know, 20 or 30% of your lump sum payment. But that's the only way they get paid. If they don't win for you, they don't get paid anything, and they don't charge you hourly. So they can get you approved, and your relative cost to them is relatively low.
Where would you find attorneys like that, Patrick, if you could share that with the audience?
Well, I've got a couple that I can recommend. Your state bar association would probably be able to refer you as well.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. We do have a couple more questions. I'm going to go through a couple outro announcements, but if there's a burning question that you have left, feel free to submit it and I'll check before we finish up for today, okay? Thank you for excellent questions and an excellent discussion. And I know that there will be some coach connections made after today. So Diana and Patrick and other financial coaches, keep your eyes open because this has been a great webinar and I know people are wanting to connect. So we're going to meet again in the Myeloma financial chapter on May 2nd. We're going to be talking about reducing debt through negotiation. This includes medical debt. This is a super important topic that I think a lot of people are either naive about or unfamiliar with. And it's really important to realize that the hospital bill that's given to you or the doctor's bill that's given to you doesn't have to be the final bill. And so we're going to be discussing that. Other upcoming events you may be interested in. Tonight we have the SoCal Myeloma Community Chapter at 6 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be talking about building bone health. And then later this week on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, we're going to hear from Nancy Rimholt. She's another financial coach. She's going to be talking to the Southeast Myeloma Chapter about estate planning, trusts, wills, and other legal concerns for myeloma patients and their families. Personal experiences, basic processes, tips and tricks, and that's just going to be a friendly discussion, a bit less formal than these kind of events, but more of a discussion between experiences and advice. And then Tuesday, April 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern is our immunotherapy treatment chapter. We're going to be talking about sequencing BCMA therapies. So this is a big question now that we have several medications targeting the same target on a myeloma cell. They're trying to figure out, is it more effective, for example, to do a bispecific first and then a CAR T, or is it more effective to do, a Darzalex? Anyway, I'm obviously really excited about this event. Darzalex, CAR T, bispecific. We're going to figure out what we know and what we still need to know because the research is appearing. The link to sign up for any of those events and even more events I didn't mention is found at the bottom of the slide and will be included in our follow-up email. Another thank you to our sponsors, Amgen, Genentech, Adaptive, Janssen, and AbbVie. And thank you to each of you for helping us build this myeloma financial community. I don't see any more questions, but I do see thank yous. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for participating. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.